Stewards, goals are not just wishes, they are assignments. And the moment you understand that, it shifts your whole perspective. You start to see this goal as an assignment, pending something that you need to do to see it being accomplished. Welcome to the Steward Show. The year has started. I wonder what your plans look like. I actually interacted with someone and they said that they've stopped planning and they've left the fate of life to take course. I hope that's not any of you that is listening, because as stewards, we take charge, we plan, and ensure that what we have planned is actually living through and we've achieved them. Today, we are talking about a very powerful topic called goal setting. I have interacted with people. I have also heard people mention statements like, their goals, my goals. They watch a couple that is going by and they say, my marriage goal. Someone who is successful in their career, they're like, wow, that is a career goal. Very many areas of life that people just point and say there goes a goal, but they never stop to actually think and ask themselves the questions. If that's what I want, how am I going to achieve that? And today we are here to discuss that and to be able to understand this whole concept, goal setting. Stewards who are here, you know that wishing to have something is not what brings it to actualization. It is actually the goals that you set and the work that you put in to see that what you want to achieve is actually being achieved. Many years ago, I had weight issues after giving birth, and I desired to cut this weight on an instant. Most of the times when we have goals that we want to achieve, we want it now. Have you seen people who have stormed the gym? They go there and they want results now. And of course, when you meet gym attendants, people who help you, coaches, they tell you, take it slow. Instead of going the whole day, take it slow and see that every effort is actually deliberate, but also continued. And it's from there that you achieve. So me, after I had given birth, of course, my husband kept saying, this weight is not what I married. You need to tone down, calm down. And of course, I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, this is not me. I need to work out and I need to go down to where I was. So you should have seen me. So that very day, I got up, went to the nearby gym and told this guy, I need to cut my weight now. The guy looked at me and laughed because he knew there is no way you're going to cut that weight in just a few days. And so we had to now sit down and do some planning. And I have been able to learn the hard way that you being in position to want it is not what brings it. It is the discipline to work, to put in the effort and plan and put in action that brings these goals to realization. So what are some of the goals that you have set? And you've repeatedly set those goals. Same person setting the same goal each year. I can imagine. So this is where we now have to appreciate this whole thing of goal setting, not just desiring it. It's different to desire something, and it's another thing to actually set the goal and work through it to see that you accomplish. I am so glad you have tuned in, because today we are answering this whole concept of goal setting. I celebrate something that is within us as humans. We all have the innate ability to see where we are and where we want to be. You, as an individual, you know where you are and you know where you want to be. And for you to affirm this fact is you constantly desire, how I wish I can be this, how I wish I can be that. It's because there is a you that you are seeing, but you have not yet achieved that person. You've not yet reached to that place where you want to be. And for me, that is a game changer. If you are already thinking that there is a place you need to be, that is a big step to goal setting, because then that is going to propel you to make some actions towards achieving that goal. But most of us, whereas we have that feeling within us, it stops there. I interacted with one of my mentors, and she was telling me she has meetings with herself. That was so funny because I imagined one sitting and having a meeting with themselves. But the day I tried that assignment, I was amazed. You get to learn things about you. You get to actually internalize these goals or these things you desire, and you ask yourself, is it really a goal for me, or it is something that I can appreciate for another person? And it is in that moment, they call it a moment of self-reflection, a moment where you sit back and ask yourself relevant questions, questions that are going to help you align on your priorities in terms of goal setting, so that it is rhyming with your time and season. And as you do this, you realize that it is actually very, very important for you to appreciate your season that you're in, to appreciate the times that you're in. I'll go back to my story when I told you about the need to lose weight. I was breastfeeding in that moment, and I needed, those who have given birth, that you have to take certain things, porridge, all these things that are just actually adding weight to you in order to provide for your baby. And so, whereas it was a good goal that I wanted to look, slim and manage my weight, it was quite unrealistic, more so if you've just given birth. You need to be able to serve your little one that has come. And so when you sit back, instead of having all the pressure coming down on you, because remember, people will say certain things to you and they will make certain suggestions to you, or even yourself, you will desire certain things for yourself. But instead of going a step to make the goal that you will not even work on, you need to evaluate and find out, in this season and time of my life, is it the goal that I want, or it is something else? And that helps to kill the frustration in case something does not happen. You don't even put in the effort to plan it, because you have already evaluated in your quiet time, in your reflection time, that whereas it is desired, it is not my goal in this time. And I think this is where we fail most of the times, because we are taking on all sorts of nice goals that we see, and yet they are not ours in that time and in that season. So I appreciated the hard way on that. And I pray that you can be able to, if you feel like there is something you need to do, there is a goal you need to achieve, in your quiet time, reflect. You will find out if this is something that you actually meant to do in that time and season or not. What are some of those goals that you have set and you have actually realized, this is not my goal in this time and season? Or a friend, if you're able to reflect on that, you'll be able to understand this important thing of managing and being able to reflect in that time and in that season before you even take the step to go ahead. Of course, I lost money because I went and signed up for this, training to tone my body. That money just went. I had frustration because I had, signed up and I showed up just 3 days, and the rest of the days I wasn't able to, because it wasn't in my moment and time. And so all to say is, evaluate. Is it in this season? Is it not? And that will help you to be able to determine whether to go forward with this or not. That is where it starts. Most of us go ahead and plan and hit frustration. And you realize, oh, I don't even need this thing again. And you're actually planning it the following year and you realize, I don't need it. You plan it the next year, you realize, I don't need it. Or sometimes we are living in a deceived mentality that you need it, and yet you actually don't need it. Probably it's because you've seen someone work with it and it has worked for them, and you're just borrowing it into your life. And yet the things that we ought to bring in are the things that are actually meant for us in that time and in that season. Stewards who are here, life is not just owned, it is entrusted. And by this, I mean the life that you hold, it has been entrusted to you, and that is why you are a steward of that life that God has given you, the breath that you hold. And for the Bible readers, you know very well that our days are numbered. You have a time when you came, and there is a time that will end. And from the time that I have lived, I have come to appreciate that we have just one life, and that one life has to count. And of course, I've been reflecting about organizations, the organizations that we work for, the institutions where we wake up to every day. These institutions come and go, but yet there is a lot of planning that is done to make them grow from one level to another. In fact, there are graphs that are drawn to ensure that progress is continued. They set goals at the start of the year and review them midway, and at the end, they still go ahead and review them, all in the effort to ensure that this organization remains alive, impacting in the areas it is serving, and to see that profit is actualized if it is a profit-oriented business. And so, whereas we are, watching this, doing this for companies, for organizations, how much so for us who have just one life to live, and yet this life has to count. I know you are already aware of the fact that you as an individual, there has never been anyone like you, and there will never be anyone like you after you're gone. And so it just speaks more into how we have to be intentional about the growth that we want to see with our lives, with the things that we have been entrusted, because this life is not our own, it has been entrusted to us. And that is why it will do you and me good justice for us to constantly evaluate, where am I? Where do I want to be? What are the things that I have to do, or that I am convicted, or I feel I need to do in order to achieve this that I would like to see in my life? And so it becomes an intentional journey. And anything intentional, that means you have been able to plan that you want to see in your life. You are carrying things in a way that matters, not only to you, but to the people around you. You are able to give back. You are able to live your life in such a way that you're sharpening other people, but also you are intentional about the growth that is going on within you. So there are various areas of growth, very many. And I have done my assessment, and I realize most of us focus on just one area of life. Like you're so good in one area and yet not as good in another. And when you strike a balance, you're able to realize growth in all areas of life. So there are actually 5 areas. So there is the spiritual area. And my brothers and sisters who are born again, most of the times we thrive a lot in this area and forget the other areas. The other area is your intellectual area, where you are taking on books, reading, and exposing yourself to different knowledge. You're able to expound on the way you think, the way you view things. This comes from you sharpening your intellectual area of life. And then the financial area, important, because there is so much that you can do with you growing in that area of finances. I'll tell you a very funny story, but this story ties well with the financial area of growth. So while I was at campus, one of my favorite uncles used to tell me, please don't be vulnerable. Do not be vulnerable. Vulnerable people, like where you put yourself in a place of desperacy. Like if someone has not helped you or supported you, and some of these, for him, his point of concern was, like, for example, if you're dating, because we were in that stage of dating, so someone takes you out and then you are looking at them as the people who should pay your meal, everything, and in case they don't get to do it, you are there. You have to be humble because you have to pay a bill, you don't even have transport on you to take you home. And at that moment, to him, you have just tied yourself in a way that you can't even take yourself out of that situation that you're in. And so financially, like you find someone who is very intelligent, someone who is spiritually grounded, and yet financially, they are constantly asking, they can't support their financial needs. And so as we are growing our spiritual areas of life, we are growing our intellectual as well as our financial. So you see how when those areas are balanced, you become holistic. But of course, those are just 3. There are 2 more. And we also have an area that is very critical, the social area of life. This is, I believe, it's one of the most important areas of life that I had left out in my early years. I thought I only need family, I need myself working hard. We need our social life where people connect with you. You are intentional about friendship, about people. And so that social capital, it actually ties with all these other capitals, because then they will open doors for you on your intellectual. They will recommend things to you that you need, that you didn't even know you actually need, because they are watching you. People watch and they tell you things. If you don't have such people in your life, that means you will not be able to have real conversations with people about you or about the opportunities around you, even the threats around you. And so that is an area that I appreciated in my life. And I am grateful for the people that have stood with me. I'm grateful for my mentors, for my husband, for the friends around in my church circle and all the professional circle. I am so grateful because they have helped me see. The 5th one is our emotional well-being. Very important, just as the ones that we've covered. The emotional. I can't count how many times I have gone in my mind over and over again over a certain habit or a certain thought line that I need to cut and train myself to think a different way. And whereas some of us can attest to the fact that our emotions are not serving us well. Like we've not managed them. We've not been able to understand how we react to certain things. And so that gets us to a place where we are constantly going again and again with the same thought line, with the same anxiety, with the same, fear. And so we are not able to work. So I want to introduce us to a balance where we are able to not just work on one area in terms of goal setting, but we're actually working on all the areas and being able to assess. And remember, all this happens from your space, your reflective space, where you're not condemning yourself, you're actually challenging yourself as an individual and asking the relevant questions so that you can get the right answers to those questions that you're asking. And it's from the right answers that you can be able to set the right goals. At our disposal, we have our resources. And that is why, as stewards, we need to leverage on the things that God has given us in this time and in this season. You look at your time that you have. There are people who want time and they can't have it because they are in so much that is pulling them away, and so they can't even focus on them. You have that opportunity. I usually laugh when they say singles maximize your singlehood, meaning there is a time that is going to come and you will not have any of that, whereby you need to now appreciate that moment and capitalize to see that you bring out the best as a single woman, a single man. And whereas we laugh about it, now I see that there is that opportunity of time. There are also resources that God has. So what is that is around you? What is that opportunity? Some of you have very good connections, like people who you can work with on a certain element and it comes out beautifully. There are people around you. You need to just open your eyes and see. As you're doing this goal setting, open your eyes and see the opportunities around you, the time that you have, the gifts at hand that you have as an individual, the resources around you, and that will help you to be able to make very good plans, but also leveraging on the things that you already have at your disposal as an individual. And you being able to acknowledge these things, it's actually your ability to recognize that there is something at hand that you can actually start with. There are people who are already feeling like you feel defeated. Why? Because you have not even opened your eyes to see what is around you. Because once you do, you realize there's so much potential that is within you, but also around you that you can leverage on to bring out the best in you. Just a few years ago, I used to feel like, like sometimes we look at our background, we look at our relatives, you look at the people around you and you just don't see, or even still, you look at your friends and you can't see yourself step forward. You can't see yourself, like literally you feel like that's the place where you need to be, and dreaming big and setting these big goals, it becomes something you can't even think about. I want to challenge you to open your eyes and see. You will be amazed. And then replace the negative talk with a positive, because the Bible already mentions that as a man thinks, so he is. And so our mind, we have to constantly shift, because a mind that is clouded, a mind that is defeated, it is hard to see any goal. It is hard to see any ability in you to achieve any goal. You're actually defeated before you set any goal. So that's why I emphasized earlier about those 5 elements that we need to be able to work with. But allow me to introduce to you an acronym that you already know. But the reason as why I'm married, the reason as why I like my husband to tell me I love you many times, it's not that he is, I just want to hear it as many times as he can bring it to me. And so I'm bringing this acronym back to you. I know you've heard it. You have actually maybe, read it somewhere and you've tried to put it into practice, but probably you've not realized that much fruit from it. Allow me bring it to you the other time, this time round, and help you understand the SMART goals. SMART. The S is specific, and specificity happens in that sacred time. I had already earlier mentioned that there are some goals that we want that are not for us. So that goal is refined in that place and personalized to make it specific, so that you know what exactly you want to do. And then measurable in the sense that there are tracks that you're going to use to ensure that you're actually tracking your progress. There are things that you have put in place to ensure that you are going to be tracking the progress. When you track progress, you're able to tell whether I am actually making it, or I need to change strategy, I need to change action, other than just going. And that is very important. If you have set this specific goal, you know what you want. How are you going to measure it so that you can see if you're achieving or not? Because that then helps you to change strategy if you need to. And then achievable. Is this goal achievable? I know faith is good, but it has to be realistic, aligned to your season and time, so that you can be able to plan it in a way that is actually not going to be frustrating you. I have seen people shoot too high and yet they get frustrated along the way because you have quite a lot on your plate. And when you realistically look through your schedule, look through the things that are pulling you in all directions, there is no way you can take a second master's degree or even a third. And so that helps you to be able to say, you know what, it is not realistic, or it is realistic, or even still refine it in such a way that it is realistic. The next is relevant. Is it relevant to me? It may be looking good, but is it relevant to me as an individual? And then time bound. Time bound, everything that is not time bound, it is going to be a goal forever. As humans, we are prone to procrastinate. And most of these goals that we are setting, it is something that we see that is, up there that we need to achieve, meaning there is effort to attach in order to achieve this goal. That means we have to push ourselves to achieving it. We have to set a timeline for us to achieve this goal that we have set. So look through, is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it achievable? Is it relevant? Is it time bound? And from there, you will be able to have your SMART goals that are within your ability, so that you can be able to achieve. When you look at all those set goals, you will ensure that with that acronym, you ensure that they are personalized, so that you can be able to see fruits and kick out the frustration. Because in this case, you will be owning these goals and you are not resting until they are done. And so I want to encourage you to try it. The year is just beginning. Set out time, close out all the noise, and be able to write these things. And this time round, put action, what you are going to do, and ensure that you follow through with this. And also the other thing, of course, find someone who you are going to share with these goals that you have set for accountability. People are going to hold you accountable. There is something that I was listening to some time back, and someone said, if you want to hear something again, tell it to your wife, because they will say it to you. They said, oh, this is what you said, that we're going to do this, we're going to do that. How far are we? And so he was teasing the men and telling them, please don't tell your women what you don't want to hear the second time, the third time, or even the fourth time, depending on who, the personality of this person. So share your goal with someone so that they can journey with you. Someone who is going to hold you accountable. Tell them, this is something that I want to do. I have been able to plan, and I am ready to follow this direction. And be able to meet with them and evaluate. They will hold you accountable once you share. Most of the mistakes we make is after planning, we shelve it. We put it on the shelf and we forget about it. Myself, of course, many years ago, I would write every year, I would have a year's resolution. This is what I am doing this year. And guess what? I next see it when I am planning another one. And of course, sometimes we get surprised, oh, this was done, this was accomplished. And yet, that is not how we are supposed to do it. It is meant to have intentional effort through it. And of course, I want to encourage you, please revisit those plans that you make. Because they are time bound, that means there is a period for you to be able to look at them and see how am I doing on this, so that you can be able to up and have it going. This year has so much in stock for you, and of course myself, I have been thinking about each and every one of you, because I believe goal setting is very important for every steward that is listening right now. You are a part of this show, and therefore you are part of family, and we want to grow together. We want to take this to another level so that you can be able to look back and say, wow. Of course, people wonder how we do these things. People wonder how one is able to achieve, one is able to make it. Recently, I was interacting with someone who was saying that their family cannot believe who they have become. Why? Because they have actually made intentional moves. People who have grown up with us, they know us a certain way. They're like, you, Rachel, this is what you've been able to do, and this is what you've been able to achieve. Because they know you, they know your behavior, they know how you wake up, you are all waking up late, and they know everything about you. And this is where now we step forward boldly with our full energy and do the things that the world will look and say, I didn't know she would do that, but she has done it, and it is good. We are proud of her. We are proud of him. Those are the words you want to hear, even for yourself to say, I am right where I need to be. But I also want to encourage you, please do not give up on the goals that you have set previously. Just sit back and evaluate. Are those goals that you would like to run with? And if so, please bring them on board and run with those goals. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that you can stay tuned. And until then, let's keep stewarding our purpose.